Loading, so we got about 15 seconds. And here we go. It's Friday, November 2nd, Saturday, November 3rd, if you're on the East Coast or across the pond. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you nightly on the SOR Radio Network and Deep Talk Radio. Hey, if you're looking for our archives, they are free on our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, soon shop at our brand new Spaced Out Radio store, read up on the SOR Newswire, and much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel Ensuho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Go to spacedoutradio.com, click on the Ensuho banner, and subscribe to the channel today. Hey, it's the first Friday of the month, and we've made it to the first weekend of November, which means it's time once again to fire up the woo train for R. Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. A lifelong ET experiencer and contactee, Keith helps counsel people who have been through some pretty extraordinary experiences. Tonight, as per usual, Keith will take your questions from the chat room and from the Twitter feed at #SpacedOutRadio. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, we got Ola Phillips back from Paranoia Magazine with another edition of the SOR News Wire. Mr. R. Keith Andrews, always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing, my friend?
Not bad at all. Pleasure to be here and really happy to see the chat room coming alive so quick.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. Well, everybody always gets excited when you're here, my friend. You bring that aura. You bring that aura of excitement.
That's what I keep finding out. I'm still trying to figure out why, but I'll just run with it.
Yeah, what the heck? What the heck? So what have you been up to, man?
Well, in a nutshell, keeping an eye on the off-worlders and how this whole the global effect is being handled. I mean, on the political side, as far as that goes, personally, I've got a novel coming out sometime before the end of this month, if everything goes well, just in time for Christmas. And of course, I start seminars starting in February. We're starting to travel to handle the Believe in Yourself series that I've been writing. And no, I'm not stopping here unless you tell me I'm not allowed to come back.
No, you're still allowed here. We still like you. I mean, that sideburns and hair that you're packing right now, I mean, that's good enough for me, man.
Yeah, it sort of came along with the rest of the body, so what the heck?
Absolutely. So what's new in the ET realm? Got any new experiences of late?
Well, I've been being shown a lot of past issues that like reminded of a lot of things that have happened in the past. One that was brought to my attention just recently, what's happening with the off-worlders, especially with the consortium, is they are talking. They were actually talking about, and I'm going to sidetrack myself. Moonlight in the chat room is asking, was Hitler ever in an airplane on the moon? I was just going to mention that most people realize that Hitler was in contact with the off-worlders. What they don't talk about is that so is every other major superpower. The neat part right now, though, is the same thing is being reiterated. Is being revisited, if you will, where the off-worlders are keeping very close tabs on what the different countries of the world are up to, because of the excitement around this evolutionary state, from a societal standpoint. And I suppose since I brought it up, I should answer the question. As far as Hitler goes on an airplane on the moon, no. But then we must understand there weren't any airplanes capable of being on the moon. Now, I won't swear one way or the other to whether or not he was on the moon.
I doubt it. I doubt it. We're going to be talking a lot about ETs tonight, man, and implants and so on and so forth. But for you, my friend, you have run the entire gamut of ET experiences, from the good to the bad to the ugly. On a personal level, you have been affected both, on a teasing, bullying level, but you've also had your modicum of success as well, where people are hanging on your words of what you are talking about because they have experienced what you are talking about. So when you look at everything in regards to the aspect of ET contact personally, what do you feel your mantra is or your job is in helping people in regards to ET contact?
Well, I appreciate you asking. I really think that the big purpose in this one is to help people realize, and when I talk about people, let's understand I'm referring to all races being people. Okay, not just humans, but to help them realize that a lot of what humans are seeing as assaults or as invasion, and rest assured, right there with you, been there already, got the t-shirt, but it really is a question of coming to understand what that race is. Now, I've mentioned before that humans do the same sort of things with animals on this planet, but what people have to come to realize is when you first meet an alien race, you've got no foundation. Gene Roddenberry was very clear. You had no foundation for understanding what that race was, what made it tick, how to communicate with it. So this is where a lot of the confusion comes in. Okay. And for me, I started off on the wrong end of it. Really, as far as the volatile abductions went. And I came to realize over the years that many of them, and there are certainly your negatives, but most of the interaction is literally trying to figure out how to communicate, or what kind of boundaries, what kind of physical boundaries or what kind of physical options are available. Okay, the reality of it is that I'm striving to get across to people that it doesn't matter what the people look like, doesn't matter what color they are, what shape they are, what gender. People across the cosmos are literally all looking for essentially the same thing. And it is through, we talk about the wars that are going on, and even the wars that are taking place off-world. People have to realize across the board, yes, you have to have weapons to defend yourself, but superior firepower is not how to solve a war. Communication and understanding is what brings conflict to an end. That's where peace gets built. Unfortunately, with most races, and the younger the race, the more likely it is to go into the volatile approach. Just like when you're children, you tend to strike first out of anger or out of frustration before you ever learn to talk. And what people have to come to realize is that fighting is not the way to solve the problem, but it is a natural step that happens to take place. But it's when communication gets together, when people actually sit down and start listening to what's being said and understanding and asking questions when they don't understand, that's when you start to see what the other races are up to. For instance, when I had my arm broken, I actually had my arm broken when I was just a tiny thing. And it was done by an off-worlder for no other reason that I could ascertain than to find out how much pressure it took to break the arm. It wasn't until, well, literally decades later that we finally got through to them, to another race, that, look, if I'm going to keep doing this work, the least you can do is put my arm back together. And it was that's just one of those issues of finally getting a message across, finally getting another race to understand that, yes, we're willing to work. Okay. And most humans, when you can sit down and talk to them, will come to understand each other one way or the other. Okay. And that is one of the big purposes that I'm working with, and that I have been basically encouraged to follow. And it's one of the big things I end up doing with the consortium, is helping the different races understand where each other is coming from, before it gets into a problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I can see that. And, every day people are affected by what is going on and wondering why them. That's the biggest question, Keith, that a lot of people have when it comes to ET contact, whether it's a one-time affair or whether it is something that has been going on for years and years, affecting their daily lives or sleeping patterns or working patterns, so on and so forth. How do we, as people, try to explain, or how do you explain to people, as somebody who works with ET contactees, that this is normal, this is okay, whether it's a positive or negative experience? How do you try and fix it?
Well, first of all, let's understand one thing very clearly. The negative experiences, I have yet to try and figure out how to call that okay. Okay, that just doesn't work for me. But I understand where the question is coming from. Like Love Never Dies in the chat room is asking how I can think that the off-worlders are good. Well, it's much the same way that I look at humans on the whole and go, humans on the whole are good. There are some bad ones. There are some bad social groups that get together. When I was growing up, they were called bullies. But the reality of it is, I ask the same question quite consistently, including how it is I ended up here on your show. Why me? Of all the people on the planet, why me? And the problem is, it's the same question that people surviving major accidents. You end up with an aircraft tragedy, and the survivor sits there going, why me? Or a military crew goes out and only one of them comes back. And the only way I can look at it is that I can look at it without losing my mind, I think, and that's debatable, is when you survive something like that, when you experience something like that, the only why that I've been able to put together is to spread understanding, to tell the story so that people can learn what's going on and can find a way to, first of all, realize they're not the only ones that have gone through it, which, by the way, won't make you feel better in itself, in and of itself, but at least it can put you in contact with people that at least can relate to what you're going through, and thereby you can talk about it and figure out, through mutual communication, how to deal with something that almost invariably turns your life completely upside down. I remember dealing with one chap that had always wished for some sort of a ET experience, a UFO experience. And as he pointed out after the fact, he said, it's great to research it. It's great to look into it. But once it's real, it changes the way you look at the world completely. And the only thing, the primary thing that I try and get across to people is you've been through it. Now you have to really look, sometimes pretty deeply, to find a way of going, I learned something from this. And rest assured, it took me, I'm guessing I was probably in my mid-teens by the time, so we're looking 15 years after the fact, when I was going through it regularly, to come to the realization that there is a way of getting past it. Now, bear in mind, if I'm talking 15 years and I was going through it, when you take the ETs, the off-worlders, the MyLab, when you combine it all together, I was going through it 2 and 3 times a week. Now, if it took me 15 years with that, on your own, people are going to be looking at 45, 45 years or longer, unless through people such as yourself, Dave, where you can bring these people together and give them some sort of guidance, some sort of way of coping with it to at least manage their life around it. And sometimes that's literally all they manage to do. One of the biggest things that I read into was when I first caught wind that people were going, a specific blood type is being targeted, right? And there was a massive panic from people of that specific blood type. And in all fairness, and I think you know this one, I don't know what blood type it was that was the real kicker, but I had a lot of people that I had to explain, no, it's not that one blood type, because it depended on what the off-worlders were looking for, which all of a sudden means nobody is, if you will, safe from the option, but then again, nobody specifically is targeted. Okay, although, as we well know, bloodlines are followed, but that's an issue of watching migration. This is... So, I mean, that's where a lot of the challenge comes in, is giving people a coping mechanism.
I understand that, but when it comes down to it, Keith, people are having real experiences. They don't know where they can talk about it. They don't know whom they can talk to about it. And that is what makes it difficult for a lot of people. And they don't really understand, nor do they comprehend, that there are others out there who are having that experience. So, for instance, if somebody wakes up on the table where they are being implanted or having something heinous or even something fun happen, they don't know how to explain it because there isn't a big group of people out there whom you could talk to about it, especially if you're not involved in the UFO ET community.
Absolutely correct. I absolutely agree with you. Nothing like trauma to wake you up and or throw you into a complete state. And, this is why radio stations like yours are so important, because the people that aren't involved in that community are given at least some exposure where they can find the true of the loop. You see, you take a look. And this is why I brought up the issue of severe accident or, mass trauma, where you get a single or a few survivors. They don't know who to talk to until they start poking around, until something happens that puts them in contact with either somebody else that is willing to listen, or they're put in touch with a counselor that is known to deal with them. Where it comes to waking up on the operating table, you end up, the people, whoever wakes up, automatically you're looking at trauma. Okay, and they've got nowhere to go. And unfortunately, and I know you're aware of this, and I'm sure that many of our listeners are, quite often you end up with people that are, that are out there claiming to work in this field and giving information and advice that you have to wonder where they got it. There's a lot of, it's kind of like reporters such as yourself or, station hosts. There's a lot out there that, even from your standpoint, you got to wonder why they're behind the mic. In your case, it's pretty obvious. I think it grows out of your hand.
Well, could be. Or I'm just like a poodle and I just like to yap, 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 yap.
But it's, you are absolutely right. When people go through that kind of trauma, whether it's good or bad, it still turns their life upside down. And one of the biggest problems that I find, second only to the number of people that go through this and don't know where to turn, is the number of people that turn to people in the community, in the UFO community, and those people turn around and go, the people that are already in go, no, you're just imagining it, and they don't listen with quite the open ear that is really required. And yes, there are people that'll blow things out of proportion, but the ones I'm concerned with are the ones that really go through things and really have these visions that they've got no idea where they're coming from and no idea or less idea on how to cope with it. That's where we have to give people operating tools, if you will, which is also why when I see a question come up in Spreaker, that's why I look at the question and go, okay, well, let's bring that to light. Let's see what we can do about giving that specific person an answer, which is why I encourage people to get into the chat room to talk directly or catch you on Twitter itself. I don't know how many different venues you've got that people can call in on, or can text you with the questions.
Oh, we got a few. We definitely got a few out there, and that's kind of what it's all about. So try to remember that we have that ability to connect with our audience, whether it's on Spreaker, whether it's in the Veterans Club on Facebook, Revolution Radio, Twitter, #SpacedOutRadio. We got quite a few. That's enough.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's face it, unless you've got like 15 monitors, you're going to have a heck of a time watching them all.
Oh, true enough. True enough. I got 3 monitors. I don't need any more. I got a question coming from Goddess Michelle at #SpacedOutRadio, but we're going to get to that right after the break here. R. Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. The ET Connection coming on up for another 2 hours here on the Mighty SOR. We'll be back after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject, from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Our Keith Andrews is our guest the first Friday of every month. Keith comes in with the ET Connection, talking all things extraterrestrial. Keith, welcome back.
And thank you for having me. And welcome to all the listeners and even the new ones that have come in since we went to break.
Absolutely. We say thank you to all of them as well. The chat rooms are packed up, which is always nice to see. Right before the break, I was going to ask you a question from Goddess Michelle on hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. And She is asking, Keith, you ever seen a Krampus? You know, that's the evil part of Christmas. If so, what is Krampus? An alien? If so, what kind? And what race does he sound like?
Well, this part gets a little off kilter, because have I ever seen a Krampus? The answer is no. Have I heard of him? The answer is yes. And basically, I suspect I really don't have a lot of information on Krampus myself, but my understanding is that he feeds on the energy of it, literally on the energy, not on the. It's not the positive side, but he gets drawn to the positive, where he can. It's almost like he feeds on the doubt that people have, okay, and on the frustration that really comes to light, mostly in the higher populated areas, because it seems to be, from everything I've heard, it seems to be he's drawn into the areas where there's a lot of people, but he keeps to the edges of them, kind of like staying in the shadow, but still feeding off the energy at the same time.
Well, he is the anti-Santa Claus, so the bad kid's got to go somewhere, Keith.
Yeah, and this is why I say I've never run into him, and rest assured, that doesn't mean I was always good. But no, he seems to be. The thing we have to understand is, for every positive energy pattern out there, there is a balancing evil and a balancing neutral one. So it stands to reason that when the energy around Santa Claus grew to that point, it stands to reason that Krampus would grow at the same time. And pretty much for the same reason.
Understandable.
That's where that fits in, as near as I've been able to piece together.
All right, let's move on to another question here. This one comes from BTO. And BTO is asking the following. Let me just pull it up here. Here it is. Keith, are the consortium and or any other groups going to finally show their presence, not to save us from ourselves and save Sister Earth, but just to showcase that extraterrestrials and interdimensionals do exist?
They will. There is no doubt in my heart that they will eventually do so on force. In force? Poor English. They just have to be very careful how they do it. Are they likely to show up on the White House lawn or, in the middle of some public stadium? Quite frankly, not likely, because of the amount of panic that is almost guaranteed to cause. But we go down the road, if you go down the road, quite frankly, years, and yes, there is no question they will make themselves known. The real question is whether or not the people my age are going to see it happen. It's more likely to be either our grandkids or our great-grandkids that start seeing them show up. Much like communities change over the period of decades, you'll find one group of people or one group of animals in an area, and over a period of decades, you'll see more and more of a new type. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. But will they become known? Will they become understood? Well, accepted, I think, is a better way of putting it. The answer is yes. But it has to be done in a cautious fashion.
Very true. Very true. Ryan has a question here, and Ryan's new to our chat room, and we say hi to Ryan and thank him for coming on in and joining the chat on a nightly basis. He says, Keith, how do you know when an ET meeting is real? For instance, my wife had a dream that she was in a park and an alien walked out of a ship and touched her cheek. She described it: green, big eyes, long fingers, tall, skinny, clicking noises, cold and slimy. How do we know the difference between a dream and what is real?
That is a fascinating question, and one that I spent, I can't tell you how many hours talking to people to get an answer from. And when I'm talking about talking to people, I mean talking to professional psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, you name it. And the answer is very simple. When you look at a dream, if there is an appropriate emotional response that goes with it, the odds are very good that that dream has a basis in reality. Now, the catch is that it may be a current one, but it's kind of tricky because you'll have an emotional response, and the more senses involved in that dream, the more likely it is to be real. If all it is a picture like watching a movie, it may be nothing more than just a thought process, if you will. But when we're talking about having the sensation of tactile contact, of clear, of the clear sounds that it was making, of the definitive picture that you're looking at, the more of the, if you will, 5 standard senses that are involved, especially if emotions are tied into it, the more likely it is that something occurred. Now, the one thing I do caution is don't take one dream, if you will, as proof positive that you've got something going on. But it is something to take into consideration.
But when people are having dreams, and like, for instance, myself, I don't remember my dreams, but I sure as heck remember my ET contact.
And that is one of the key factors. If you're not known to remember dreams, and all of a sudden you've got one that you can't let go of, it's a pretty good bet it wasn't just a dream. It clearly hit struck a chord, as in this gentleman's, as in this gentleman's wife's case. It obviously struck a chord that stuck with her long enough to pass it on to the point that he could also remember it and hold it steady. Again, leading to the likely, the more likely outcome that something in all probability happened. Whatever you do, understand that doesn't mean there's anything to fear, because obviously, at least from what Ryan is laying out here, it doesn't sound like anything untoward happen, just contact, which can be disconcerting, as you well know, and as many of our listeners understand.
Very understandable. Very, very understandable. Okay, let's move on here. New Joe has a question. He is asking, Keith, what is your opinion on automatic drawings that seem to show some sort of entity in them?
That is, usually automatic drawings happen through the subconscious. And because the subconscious is more aware of surroundings than what the conscious mind is, more often than not, this means that the person has tapped into something. Now, they may have either seen it themselves, or, as with the case of automatic drawing and automatic writing, they may have picked it up from somebody else because they're tapping directly into the neural net and pulling information that they're now able to instinctively transmit onto paper. But that's because the automatic writing mechanism is an uncontrolled thing. It's not something that you think about, so it's got to be influenced from somewhere. And, no, we're not talking just the imagination. That's a conscious thing.
Very understandable. Very understandable. When you are automatic writing, because I don't know that much about it either, so I'm just curious, is it you who are doing the writing, or is it something else like an entity or a spirit coming into your body to use your abilities to do the writing or the drawing?
Oddly enough, that's sort of a flip of the coin. I know in most cases, you're dealing with you tapping into your own subconscious and thereby the information coming out. You'll find with most automatic writing, what comes out seems to be about the individual, about that person specifically. Like, for instance, I've got a book that will be coming out that is a channeled autobiography, which literally was done by automatic writing. When you get somebody doing automatic writing that starts laying out either medical information for somebody that they're not related to, or say information or insights that have nothing to do with their own background, the odds are somebody else is they're tapping into some other form of energy. Okay. Now, whether somebody is directly taking over, the easiest way I look at that, sometimes it happens, not often, but one of the giveaways is with most automatic writing, the handwriting of the writer will still be the same, no matter what comes out, even if it's higher insights, or even when you're passing on information to somebody else. Where it gets confusing is if the handwriting itself is different than the handwriting of the individual when they're conscious. Okay, that leads into the possibility that you're dealing with somebody else operating through you. It's along the same lines as what is known as a full channel, where the person's entire demeanor and voice print shifts gears. Okay, that's when something else overlays and temporarily takes over. Usually by subconscious invitation, but not always.
So, the skeptic in me says that it's just a nervous system processing something deep in the brain that is causing whatever the brain wants it to see. How do we tell the difference between the brain deep in and the fact that it may actually be an ET or spiritual entity?
It's sad to say that usually boils down to the feel of what's written. And yeah, I realize that's one of those, shall we say, esoteric problems. Like I said, most of the time, and I do agree with you, by the way, your concept of your autonomic system kicking in to process something going on deep within. That's what I was referring to about the subconscious being the origination of that information. Okay, it's something that your body picked up, and the automatic writing is now bringing it to light for you to work with.
Okay. I can understand that. But it still doesn't answer any question. Maybe we don't have a true clear-cut answer on it. That we can't tell at this point whether automatic writing is of an extraterrestrial or spiritual nature, or if it is actually just the human imagination deep within the back parts of the mind.
From what I've seen, and of course this is quite literally only my opinion on it, but from everything I've seen over the decades I've been doing this, it's a combination. Okay, but you can't blanket say it all comes from the human subconscious or it all comes from off-world overlay.
Right.
So no, you're absolutely right. As an overall group, we cannot say for certain that that this is one event, that this is what causes this event.
Okay. So how does automatic writing then work differently from channeling a spirit?
The only difference, in all fairness, is when you're doing automatic writing, assuming it is another entity writing through you, the only difference is whether or not it uses a writing utensil or whether it uses just the vocal cords. Okay. And this is why most channels, when you talk to them, most channels don't change their voice. Okay. They simply relay what they're being told. This is why, like, when I'm doing a reading, I will often tell people I'm being told such and such. And literally that's what it means, is I've got some extra entity, some extra spirit or a guide standing there going, this is the information that needs to get out.
Right.
Okay. With automatic writing, same idea. The only difference is instead of saying it, they write it down.
Mm-hmm. So when you channel a spirit through your body, to me it's a little bit more believable because you feel it. And you're actually, because I've done it, and you're actually sitting in your own body wondering, where is this coming from? This is kind of cool. But with automatic writing, you just don't know, because usually the way humans work is when you have a pen or a pencil in your hand, it's your mind that does the thinking as to what you're going to put on the page.
Well, and that I agree with, and this is why I said with the one book that I will be printed, that it's already done. I literally, when I wrote it, I sat down. I was going to write something else, and the next thing I knew, I looked at it and went, okay, I don't know where this 16 pages came from. I'm going to have to go back and read it because I got no idea what I wrote. Okay. And it literally, that's a long story in itself. But when the person is automatic writing, okay, some people, what they end up looking at, like the actual writer, will look at the paper and go, what the heck is this? Okay. Mm-hmm. And they won't recognize what they wrote. Like, they won't remember having written it, but it'll be there.
Okay. So if you were channeling an extraterrestrial, let's say, and you were getting a message, how are they able to translate it from whatever language they speak or telepathically speak into English, so that way we are able to understand it?
Did you say how do they do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that is because when they're communicating, there's one of two methods that gets used. Now, one is there is a way to do what I came to understand as mental cohesion, meaning both thought processes, both the human and both the recipient and the sender, their brain find the neural output of both brains find a way to come into a balance point where they can communicate. Essentially, that's the mechanics behind interspecies telepathy. Okay, that's the first issue. The second issue is that even the human brain does not think in words. It thinks in pictures. Like if I say the word hammer, okay, in your mind, what do you see?
I see a picture of a hammer.
Yeah. You don't see the word hammer. Most people see usually a carpenter's hammer.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the same. It's the same thing as, let's say, for instance, I see a post of yours on social media. When I read it, I'm actually hearing it in your voice.
Yes. Yeah, like I quite often get people telling me, "Don't look at me with that tone."
Right.
You know, because the energy does transfer through the different mediums. You know, through the different modes of communication. So, you know, when you're looking at the mind-to-mind communication, more often than not, it's done because of pictures, not because of either because of pictures or because of sounds. Very seldom is it done because of actual words. Now, of course, human to human, if you get telepathic communication, they both know the same language. At least that would be the theory.
Well, that's what you could hope. That's what you could hope. You know what, Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we're going to step out for our break here at the top of the hour. Our Keith Andrews is here the first Friday of every month. And he comes on in to talk all things extraterrestrial, ET contact, ET abductions. We're going to get into implants tonight. But we also know the priority is your questions. So you fire them up, put them in capital letters. We will get to them if you're in one of the chat rooms. We'll be back with more. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection after this.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, We have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thanks for being with us. This weekend, while I am off finding my Zen, my Chi, searching for Bigfoot in the forest, you can tune in to Spaced Out Weekend with Tess Nicole Thomas. We get going at 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We welcome back everyone listening in on the SOR Radio Network and Deep Talk Radio. If you're looking for our archives, they are on youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Psychoneuroendocrinological. Oh my gosh, I think I got it. Yeah, no kidding. Psychoneuroendocrinological is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, space travelers, as Bill sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot soon, shop at our brand new Spaced Out Radio store, read up on the SOR Newswire, and so much more. Tonight we are talking with R. Keith Andrews. It's the ET Connection that happens the first Friday of every month as we get into all things extraterrestrial. Keith, welcome back.
Yeah, and thanks so much for having me. And welcome to all the listeners.
Yeah, it's always exciting to get up for a Friday night Bill Cardwell password, that's for sure.
Well, let's face it. I like to think that, and I'm usually wrong, but I like to think I've got a decent vocabulary. But when Bill puts these up, I've got to go onto the net or into a dictionary of some form and go, okay, now what was that? But
I fully understand. Fully appreciate that. But sometimes he just scares me. And I get scared every Friday night.
The thing I find fascinating with it is, how did he come up with the idea for some of these? Like, where does he look to find these words? Because I know I've looked up a few of them, and they are real words that he is putting out there.
And here I thought he was just mixing a Scrabble bag.
So did I when I first started looking at them.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but they're real.
Well, Cardwell, you got yourself a long, big mention there, my friend. A long, big mention. Good job. All right. Keith, we always love our audience participation during this show, so we're going to get to a question from the audience right off the bat here. And this one comes from Mike. He's asking, what are your views, Keith, on the various theories of an alien galactic council that dictates the rules for alien-human encounters amongst alien races?
Well, it's about as real as it gets. We just have to realize that they have rules, yes, but they do not control any. They have rules for how the aliens interact with humans. They do not have rules for how the humans have to interact. But this being said, they do have the counterpoint to that. How does a given alien race deal with a human when a human does something completely unexpected? Or, outside of what the alien was intending. There's a lot more rules for communication from the aliens towards humans than what you might think. And the reason for that is to cut down on the amount of modification that can happen to Terran society given the wrong promptings. But there is
what does that mean?
Well, for instance, the off-worlders are not allowed to come down and all of a sudden just start turning over alien technology as however they please to anybody they want. Okay, they're also not permitted to step in on human interaction with human-to-human interaction unless it is going to be globally devastating. Okay, now natural disasters don't fall into the same category, but they do have what was coined in the in Star Trek, the Prime Directive. They do have something along that lines, not quite so black and white. But they absolutely have protocols, have guidelines for how to deal with humans on the whole.
Right. So basically, this, if I got this right, this Galactic Federation or Council or whatever it is, literally has rules for these ETs coming down to Earth and saying what they can and cannot do?
Within, it's not down to the minute detail, right? Like, for instance, there are protocols that have to be followed if you're going down to do a botanical study. Okay, if an alien group wants to go down and do some sort of study, some sort of research on certain plants, they are not permitted. For instance, let's say they want to look into Easter lilies. Okay, they are not permitted to go in and enter into somebody's house to look at Easter lilies. Just because the Easter lily is readily available doesn't mean they're allowed to go there. Okay, they have to. The off-worlders are supposed to remain concealed. Now, of course, unfortunately, that doesn't work as well as you'd like, or as well as they would like. But they are not. So the real catch to it is they are supposed to create as little disturbance as they can get away with. Okay. This is why everybody questions whether they get, not everybody, but why most people question whether or not they have had an interaction, because there are safeguards in place. Now, that's regarding the visible side. Where it comes to communication, they are actually, the consortium actually trains its people to deal with the abductions, to deal with the sample taking and what have you, as best they can. Okay, simply to cause as little trauma as they can get away with. Okay, same way scientists are trained, certain humans are trained how to take blood, right? Other ones aren't. And, it does take a lot of training. So, I mean, there are definite protocols, safety protocols, both for the humans and for the off-worlders. Okay, I mean, you take a look at the physique of a gray. Most humans are far superior in strength than what the grays are. And if a human gets panicky, and it happens quite regularly, where the human will get panicky because he wakes up on the operating table, or on the examination table, and lashes out. Well, picture what would happen with you, Dave, if a 3-year-old were to startle you and you just suddenly lash out. Okay, what's going to happen to the poor little kid? The Greys have the same. The Greys have the same problem.
I agree. I totally agree with that. And they have to use their strengths in order to do what they need to do to us. I mean,
exactly.
It's adapt and overcome.
So, yeah, and of course they're trying, because of the fact that the overall issue is get humans brought up to speed. Humans are already leaving Earth. This isn't a question of is it coming, it's already happened. And one of the consortium's main targets, and this is why they pick certain people, is to help people get up to speed on not only the technological side, but the social side of dealing with multiple races. Because like on Earth, not all people behave the same way. Not all aliens behave the same way. That sounded really bad.
Exactly. I know where you're going with that, though. All right, let's get to Uncle Dale's question. You never know if it's Dale or Dale's mustache that is asking, because he's got a great mustache.
Yeah, I believe we call that handlebar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. He's asking, why do so many sightings of UFOs look like Junior got drunk, stole Mom's spacecraft, and went joyriding? I love this question. I've
often wondered that. A lot of the reason for that is because the people that are seeing them, more often than not, are first of all questioning what they're seeing. So of course you may be dealing with people rubbing their eyes, going, "What the heck is that I'm looking at?" And of course, if you're not used to seeing them, your mind is going to fill in the blanks. And this is just a normal psychological thing that humans do. Well, in all fairness, all races do it. So you try and the only place that most people are used to seeing aliens is on the Cartoon Network or on movies. And it's one thing to look at it on a movie. It's another to look at it in the real world. So perceptions can get a little bit screwballed. And of course, it's a very few number of people that are actually completely blitzed out of their mind when they see it, which we'll explain for a small percentage. It
is very interesting because, let's face it, a lot of people see these high-speed right-angle turns or these figure eights going in the air or levitation and then shooting up into the sky to come right back down at the same time. Like, honestly, I could see where Uncle Dale is bringing that question to the forefront.
Oh, yeah, because you got to remember, when you look at the alien technology, the stuff that makes those maneuvers possible, the human technology has not evolved to that point. Humans are still looking at gravity a little backwards, so they can't compensate for it properly yet. But in the gravity compensators and the inertial dampeners that the off-worlders have are such that you can pull that maneuver without upsetting a coffee cup on your console. And it literally boils down to the technology side of it. This is where they get much cooler toys than we have.
Oh, true enough. But we've had this question a couple times during this show over the last couple of weeks, and I want to post it to you as well. Why do UFOs need lights? What's the purpose of the lights on a UFO?
Well, oddly enough, part of that is quite deliberately to get people, to get people's attention, oddly enough, even though they're not supposed to. But the other much more important reason is, yes, UFOs can see the incoming flight. Okay, like if a UFO is there, it will see a plane approaching. Okay, but the off-worlders know that modern radar does not pick up everything. Okay, there are glitches in human technology, and therefore the off-worlders do recognize that those planes up there are not operated. They're not run by drones. They're run by actual people, And therefore, the lights do alert the people, if necessary, that they're not the only one up there. It cuts down on mid-air collisions. Safety precautions, if you will.
Oh, I don't buy that for a second, man.
Yeah, I know.
I don't buy... I understand that, but I can't see a UFO being able to move that fast would have lights on so it could be a beacon for other aircraft in the sky.
Well, think of it this way. Okay, if you're trying to do, they don't have, like the off-worlders, do not have the ability to see everything at the same time. They still make errors. And it is much safer when you're dealing with a race that relies on vision. It is much safer to have some sort of a mechanism in there if you're not trying to invade. Okay, even though you'd like to keep things quiet, if you're not trying to invade, it's best to leave a way for people to at least know what's going on, that something is there. Because, unfortunately, or maybe it's fortunate, off-worlders don't see everything that's happening. And they have been, some of the accidents, some of the crashes that have taken place have been because the off-worlder didn't see the incoming. They were they were caught up doing something else. Right. And got blindsided, which does happen.
Okay.
The biggest miscalculation people can make is to think that just because they've got better technology means they're aware of everything happening. And then, of course, we have the other little problem. Yes, they've got better technology, but some of the experimental fields that humans are working with that aren't contained have a tendency of creating a problem even for their electronics. And to explain that one, we have to go into a really funny little conversation.
All right. Do you want to get into that or no?
Well, let me put it this way. It literally relies on the oscillodensification of the tritransdentation layer.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I did warn you.
well, I realize that, but, I've heard that 3 of the last 4 shows, man.
That's because we keep talking about technology.
I know. All right, let's move on here, my friend. We got another question, this one coming from Ryan in the chat room. Would it be the same extraterrestrials doing the contact? So would they not be used to dealing with the unexpected human reaction? I'm going to add something to that, though. I hope Ryan doesn't mind. Is it the same ETs that visit you over and over again, or are you on like a watch list by several different species?
Well, the answer to that, the first part, in answer to Ryan's question, yes, it is the same ETs that come down and do the abductions, and yes, they are specifically ready for it. Where the problem comes is that they still bring rookies with them to train them. Okay, and it's the rookies that run into the problems. Okay, that's where that complication comes in. Now, in answer to your question, the answer is yes. It's usually the same ones that come to connect with me, but it's multiple different races. Okay, so you'd be the same of a given race. There's a specific contact or a specific group of contacts, but because there's multiple races, it becomes, it's sort of a yes to both questions.
Okay. So when we are, abducted, and let's say we are taken by mantids, does that mean that same group of mantids will continue to watch us, probe us, investigate us, or are they going to take their studies and share them with other groups and say, hey, this is what we found from our Keith Andrews? maybe you should go in and see if you can find something else.
More often than not, when a given group, when a given person is taken, more often than not, it will be the same group, the same race that comes back until whatever they were researching in the first place is complete. Now, sometimes there is corroboration or cooperation, but on the whole, it's a case of, okay, Dave, we're going to pick up Dave. Okay, everybody else hands off because we're studying Dave and we don't want your study to interfere with our findings. Okay, because you got to remember when they're taking blood samples and what have you, there is a residue that will be left behind, or there may be a microscopic amount of something that can skew the reports if somebody else is doing the same type of an examination. So on the whole, it's usually, and there is some cross-contamination, but for the most part, the reality is that you end up with one group or, one specific group that targets usually an individual, quite often a bloodline, because in that case they're looking at heritage, they're looking at migratory patterns.
All right. Makes sense, I think.
I hope so.
Well, I've got a question in my head, and I'm just trying to figure out how to word it. Okay, like I know for myself, Keith. I know for Samantha Mowat, yourself, and a number of others who've been on this show, they have had multiple contact with multiple different species of extraterrestrial. All right?
Right.
Why so many different visitations from different species? I mean, are there certain people on this planet who get pegged as maybe specialized or people of interest that other groups now have to check in on? How does that work?
Essentially, you are correct. That's where that corroboration thing comes in. Now, and, for you're doing something that few other radio stations have managed to get to. And you're bridging the gap from the internet into terrestrial radio, which, much as it's exciting for you, it's absolutely exhilarating from their standpoint. Okay, because it shows a point of evolution.
Right.
Of societal evolution. And that's where the council comes in and says, okay, and I'm just going to pick on you for a minute, Dave.
Sure.
But okay, Dave Scott is a very important individual in this field, in the area he's in. Keep an eye on what he's up to. Whatever you're trying to research, remember there are other people doing their research, so make sure that you keep in contact, so you cross-reference with each other, so you're not interfering with the findings of the other people.
Okay, Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on to that thought. We're going to go to our bottom of the hour break here on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be back with more. Our Keith Andrews, the ET Connection, coming up right after it. We'll see you in a minute.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is spaced out radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio tonight on this Friday night, early Saturday morning. If you're on the East Coast, I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out in the captain's chair tonight. And it's R. Keith Andrews and the ET Connection, which happens the first Friday of every month. Mr. R. Keith Andrews, welcome back.
Well, thanks very much for having me. And again, welcome to all the listeners.
Now, right before the break, we were talking about the idea that people who have had multiple encounters with multiple different species, why are all these different species coming to look at that certain person? Because the more that happens, the more that person questions their own sanity when that happens.
Well, the biggest issue around that is it's sort of a catch-22. The reality is they're trying to figure out, or they're trying to keep tabs on, not so much figure out. They're watching the impact that individual has on the community around them. Now, they do their best to make it as unobtrusive as they can, knowing full well that the human psyche is, by nature, a fragile psyche. I mean, you've got to realize that humans as a race are very young. So when the various different races come in contact, they know it's going to be challenging. So what they try and do, it's going to be challenging for the human involved. So they do their best to turn around and pick the people that, by their study, seem to have enough cognizant capacity that, yes, they may question their sanity, but they won't lose it. Because the off-worlders are not trying to create a problem, but they do have to take into consideration that their simple interaction may do so anyway. So they look, you can sort of, when it comes to multiple racial interaction, I encourage people to look at that as more of a compliment to their mental stability than anything else.
Okay. Well, and I can see where that would, affect someone's mental stability. And it's not so much the action. It's trying to understand the action and the reaction of where do you go? Where do you turn? You can't talk to your sister, your brother, your mom or dad, or your minister about this, your coworkers. A lot of people, the minute they have that happen, even one time, Keith. It literally is a profound experience that they don't know who they can share it with because of fear of anger, fear of religion, fear of backlash, being called crazy, goofy, stupid, any adjective you want to put in there. But when you have people who are all of a sudden seeing 2, 3, 5, 12, 19, 50 types of species out there, this is where it gets confusing for a lot of people. And they know they're sane. All right? They know they're sane. They know what they are seeing. They can't control these experiences. So how do all these different races then know to target these certain individuals?
Well, without getting too far into the rabbit hole, as it were, humans, when they do an EEG, they take a look at the brainwaves and they look at the overview. They look at what humans can detect. Now, humans use a machine to do this. The Offworlders, sometimes they use a machine, sometimes they use qualified telepaths, neural sensors, to figure out, to look for those markers that they can see that go beyond what the human EEG sees, to determine, is the connection solid enough that person is not likely to go off the deep end? Are they likely to be able to cope with it, given what they've got the ability, the ability to compensate for? That's essentially how they do it. Okay, now I do agree with you. One abduction can turn your world upside down. Yeah. So, and there's no way of really going for absolute certainty this won't create the problem. They're stacking the deck in their favor, in favor of not causing an extreme problem. Okay. I mean, you take a look at yourself when you've started having your interactions. The first question coming to mind is, did I really see that? Now you're in a fortunate position where you've got a lot of people around you can talk to. But I really do feel for the ones that don't have anybody. Been there, done that when I was growing up. It was not a fun journey.
Right. No, and I can see that. I can absolutely see that, okay? But it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me unless there is some sort of implantation in abductees that is almost like a beacon source for all of these different species to say, okay, we've got, our Keith Andrews on the hook here. There's his signal. We haven't seen him yet. 27 different races have looked at Keith. He's got whatever they are looking for, and we need to look at this as well. That's what I'm thinking. And how far-fetched is that?
Actually, in some cases, that's not that far-fetched at all. Okay, that's the issue. Like when one group picks up an abductee. Okay, and we'll deal with the first-time abductees. When one group picks them up, they do tag them. Okay, now it's not always a technological implant, but they always leave a marker so that other races know this person was tagged by so-and-so. Okay. So when they find that out, then they immediately send word and go, okay, we've got this person online. They've already been picked up. We need to know what they're up to, what the other race is up to, so that we don't interfere with it. We still want to take a look. We still want to do an examination, but we need to know what we're up against. How much has been already interacted with. But essentially, you are correct. It's sort of being put on a watch list, very much like what humans do with advertising. Okay, we know this person gets this type of magazine due to our database. Therefore, let's see if they want this other magazine that we've got that's very similar. Or let's talk to that person. We know so-and-so did an interview on sports. Well, we'd like to do an interview on sports, and we know that person's already done one, so let's go and talk to them. It's the same sort of an idea. I hope that makes sense.
Not really. Not really. I'm still confused about it, but we can definitely move on. We can definitely move on. Ryan is asking, well, pardon me, we already got to Ryan's question. Let me scroll up here. Scrolling up. I know it's here somewhere. All right. Joe is asking, are we assuming that extraterrestrial visions see in the same spectrum of light as we do?
Absolutely not. But they do. Most of them do know what humans see in and can replicate said image. So where we talk about the lights, they themselves may not be able to see them, depending on the race, but they put them out in a light that the consortium knows, or that even their race in particular knows humans see, for exactly the same reason I was talking about earlier. But not all races actually see with an optical nerve, never mind in the same light spectrum. You know, a prime example, if you take a look at the movie Predator, that race does exist, and they see with heat vision. They do not see in standard light. Okay, so they don't recognize the same thing humans do, or more to the point, they don't recognize it in the same way, but they're just as effective.
Okay. Let's get to a question from Bushi, because this is kind of along the same lines. Are there species out there, then, that do not rely on vision?
Absolutely. Absolutely there are. One, for example, your elementals, none of them rely on what humans consider vision. Your amoebics don't. Okay, they don't physically have eyes. Right. When you take a look at the sea elves, they actually don't rely on vision because of the fact you can't see anything down there. Okay, they rely on sound. So I mean, and there are other races that use senses that humans don't even have, or more to the point, don't recognize.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's move on to Mike's question. Do aliens believe in a God? If so, what proof is there?
Well, that's the complicated part. The short answer is yes. Virtually every alien race that I've run into and or even talked to somebody else about, they all seem to have their own. There's obviously going to be an exception somewhere in this, but they all seem to believe in either a god or multiple gods. Okay, they've got their own religious practices. The neat little part about it, though, as far as the proof goes, is that's where it gets to be a little complicated. Because sometimes the proof isn't in the proof so much as the lack of proof of failure. And what I mean by that, if you take a look at trying to prove something's there, you may not be able to see it. Like, you cannot see the wind, but you can certainly see the effects of it. Where it comes to a god, understanding that it depends on your definition of a god. Now, most people will tell you faith is where the proof is. And there are many times that members of any race have something happen that they just can't find a functional explanation for as to why it happened. So they call it an act of God. Okay, it's kind of and don't get me wrong, the obvious question that many people ask me is, do I believe in God? And the answer is yes. But the other side of this is when you take, and I think, and you may or may not know this, I think it was Asimov that said it, when you take technology to its ultimate level, there is little difference between it and magic. Well, when you take magic to its ultimate level, there is little difference between it and being a god. Now, this does not mean that God is not there. It just means that God is not understood. And you don't have to understand something to accept that it's there. And that can go down one heck of a rabbit hole.
Sure could. Sure could. Let's move on here to Gail's question. Gail is saying, as per usual, this is usually every couple of months, and yes, I'm teasing you, Captain Shirk. She says, abductions must stop. What will it take? And then Jade jumps in and says, seriously, what will it take? Coupons to Red Lobster, McDonald's, IHOP, what?
Well, the odds of it stopping, I would have to say, are slim to non-existent. And for precisely the same reason that humans won't stop scientific research into what makes different animals and different plants, move, what makes them tick. Because the one thing that does seem to have a common root in many races is curiosity. It's just humans happen to have more than their fair share of it. But hoping that the abductions will stop. Do understand, humans call it abductions. Aliens, on the whole, call it research. Okay, because in their eyes, for the most part, they take somebody, they do their sampling, and they put them back. It's not like, on the whole, they take the people and the people are never returned.
Okay. But for those who have had positive experience, they want it to happen again and again and again. It's like a drug. Yeah,
it really is. Kind of like people that go skydiving. The first time they try it, if they like it, they want to go back there and jump out of a perfectly good aircraft. Yeah, I never understood that one personally. But that's just it. The people that have a positive experience, absolutely, they want something, they want more. And then you get the odd one that has a negative experience but wants to be abducted again because they're dying to have that positive experience. Motivation is as varied as it can get.
Okay. All right, let's move on. BTO is asking, and we got about 4 minutes here before we got to go to break here. Says, are every species upon Sister Earth part of an existing bipedal civilizations that exist within the Sister Milky Way, other galaxies, in essence, throughout this universe? Very deep question, BTO. That must come from the beard.
The answer is, for the most part. You'll run into a few where they are literally the last group or the last, a very tiny remnant of an ancient civilization that is on the verge of winking out. Most of them are, if you will, local by galactic standards. But every once in a while you end up with a race getting in here that is on a deep research run, meaning they don't come from the Milky Way, they come from somewhere else. So, I mean, it's kind of like the difference between a local explorer and, I hate to put it this way, but a deep space explorer. But, on the whole, they are certainly members of some civilization that, is rather expansive. At the very least, the greater majority of them are tied in one way or another to the consortium itself, and thereby have guidelines that they are encouraged to follow.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Uncle Dale has a question. We got about 2 minutes left. Vision is complicated. An apex predator that is also technological needs distance vision, depth perception, and fine vision. So whatever wavelengths that they are using has to be able to provide those capabilities, wouldn't you say?
Yes, absolutely. But it's not always tied to the optic nerve. Okay. For instance, they absolutely have to have a way of identifying at a distance whatever their target is. Absolutely. But where eyes don't exist, the other senses will pick up. Some people and some species, for instance, can sense a wind current move and can tell who. I think spiders are really good at that one, if I remember correctly. But they will spot somebody moving because of a change in the wind current or because of a change in scent on the air. So much as they absolutely require some sense that can pinpoint the individual, it's not just the eyes that can do it.
Right. Okay. All right. We got about 1 minute here. So we definitely have time for one more here. Jade made a comment, but I'm going to form it in the form of a question here. She basically says that everybody has their price. Aliens are no exception. Would you say this is to be true?
Well, no. But then I'm a firm believer that there is the exception where you cannot buy certain people. People being individuals of any race. That being said, are most people able to be bought? The answer is yes, but not all. Okay, so the reality is that most people you can get to of any race, but there are some that will look at you and go, no, there's nothing that you can offer me or nothing you can threaten me with to make me give up on what I'm saying or to make me turn a blind eye.
Right.
But those are rare people.
On that note, we're going to take a break here, Keith. You
Absolutely.
sit tight. We're going to take a break at the top of the hour here. We got another 30 minutes left with our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection as we head into hour number 3 right after this break on Spaced Out Radio. Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social media freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social media freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. This weekend, Tessa Nicole Thomas will be in the SOR headquarters, broadcasting Spaced Out Weekend while I'm off in the wilderness, finding my Zen, my Chi, and hopefully a few Bigfoot clues. We get going at 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern, Saturday and Sunday at spacedoutradio.com. We say hello to everyone listening in on the SOR Radio Network and Deep Talk Radio. Don't forget, you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Psychoneuroendocrinological. Psychoneuroendocrinological is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as Bill sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Not going to lie, I don't like it. Don't like it a bit, but nonetheless. Oh, my gosh. Why does he make me sweat on Friday nights? I have no idea. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Soon you can shop at our brand new looking Spaced Out Radio store. We're in the midst of building that right now. The SOR Newswire. Go to our website, click on the news tab. Captain Shirk has a ton of great news on there for you to catch up on as well, and the weird and the strange and so much more. Our Keith Andrews is here. We got him till the bottom of the hour with the ET Connection. It happens the first Friday of every month. Mr. Keith, welcome back.
And thanks so much for having me, and welcome to all the listeners.
Exactly. We love having the audience participation. And we're going to continue that right now. Uncle Dale and his power stash. By the way, Dale, it's not a gag. It's not a gag. Dale had the nerve on another forum today to say that I have this gag about bugging people about their mustaches and facial hair. It's not a gag, man. It's tribute. It's complete tribute, Uncle Dale. So he is asking, why do they have to be called aliens? Can't they be called undocumented, sadistic, criminal, kidnapping ETs? Your thoughts?
Well, it could be, but it takes so much time to say it.
That's what I was thinking.
No, the reality is alien simply means not from here. Okay, if you're born in one city and you move to another city, by definition, you're an alien to that new city. Okay, these guys, they weren't born here. Therefore, they're alien. Their personalities, on the other hand, I can understand where he's coming from with some of the ones I've met, and clearly some of the ones that he's met.
The ETs aren't bad. We just hear all the bad stories.
And that is the sad reality of it. It's like humans on the whole are really nice, but you hear about the ones that are really creepy.
That is very true. Very true. It's the juice that people want. People love the juice, the drama.
Oddly enough, it's not so much, quite frankly, it's not so much they want it as they've been taught that is what makes things interesting. You know, myself, and I know I'm weird on this one, I would rather see on the front page of the paper a couple of strangers standing there getting married, and in the back, see this little blurb about so-and-so shot so-and-so. You know, don't hide the negative news, but I would rather see the positive news put out on the front page, or even like I saw, I think it was last year in Calgary, the winners of the Stanley, I think it was the Stanley Cup. Yeah, it had to be. It was Calgary Flames.
No, they didn't. They didn't win the Stanley Cup last year, man.
No, but, well, I don't know who it was. I'm not a sports fanatic of any functional means, but I did hear about virtually every paper picked up whoever the win was and put them on the front end, on the front page. I would rather see that than who robbed what.
Oh, it's positive news.
Well, exactly. I mean, still put the negative in there. You know, people need to know so-and-so is a problem child. You know,
very true.
But we could get very digressed on that one.
Let's go to Joe here. He is asking, do the aliens need a hunting permit? Is there a human season? Is there a limit to how many humans they could take?
Not exactly. As a matter of fact, quite frankly, from what I've seen, they do need a license or a permit, if you will, clearance to come onto the planet. But it's not like there's a open hunting season on, let's go bag us a human.
Oh, I'm sure there's some races who do, though.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. You know, the one that comes to mind most clearly is literally the one they showed on Predator. Okay. Mm-hmm. Where they literally look at humans as they're a challenge. You know, so there are races that do that. But on the whole, the answer is no. But they do have very strict guidelines as to who's allowed to come down here.
Mr. Skeptic on Twitter. Oh, it's a snarky question, but I got to ask this. He's saying, Keith, you seem to be in tight with various ETs. If I drop your name during an abduction... Sorry.
No, I've never seen you lose it before. This is funny.
Okay. All right. Well, let me try this again. Keith, you seem to be in tight with various ETs. If I drop your name during an abduction, is there a chance I could BS my way out of a probing? Asking for a friend.
I've really got to give this guy.
Oh.
You know, Dave.
Okay. I think I'm done.
In the roughly 3 years that I've been on the show here, this is the first time I've ever seen you lose composure to this degree.
It's classic. It's absolutely, I mean, that may be one of the best questions that we've ever asked. Oh.
Well, it certainly had the most dramatic impact.
Oh, well, my goodness. Oh, wow. Oh, that was classic. Absolute classic. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that one goes down in the annals. You know.
Exactly. Wow. Okay. Keith, can he drop your name as a reference?
Well, technically the answer is yes. The unfortunate part is not all of the races know me by the same name. And much more pertinent is there are races that if you drop my name, it's not going to go as well for you as you might think. You know?
Oh, yes. What we may have to frame that question.
Well, I know that one really should go up in your office.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is the first time I've seen you actually lose the ability to communicate.
Oh, my gosh. And usually with the questions, I try and read them before I read them on air. And oh my goodness, trust me, I was not laughing in my head when I was reading it. I'm like, oh, this is good. This is fantastic.
Oh,
I know he's
really
laughing too.
Oh yeah,
So-
and Mr. Skeptic should give himself a pat on the back, and anybody close to him should give him a pat on the back. That was well worth it right there. When you can take an experienced reporter and throw him so far off his game that communication is just not possible, you got to give yourself a pat on the back. That takes work.
Oh man, that was funny. What
the really comical part is?
What's that?
On top of everything else, this is the first time that you've lost focus, and it's the first time that I've been on terrestrial radio. I mean, your terrestrial station is only less than a week old.
Well, we started on our satellite feed, our XDS satellite feed on Monday. So, yeah, everybody in the world who listens in can hear us now.
Well done. Now, there's a way to make an impact. And how long has Mr. Skeptic been listening to us?
Oh, buddy. Oh, he's been listening for about a year and a half now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about there. He's a veteran. He's a veteran now.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
very, very nicely done. Talk about sidetracking the whole conversation.
Oh, that was fantastic. Let's get to another question. Catherine's asking, do alien implants turn people into broadcast radios, essentially?
No, I mean, it depends. Obviously, it depends on the implant, but implants are basically geared to recording and releasing data to a specific receiver or to a specific type of receiver, if you will. It's not like they're geared for you put the implant in and then you start relaying a message around through a bunch of others. Technically, we're talking technology. A lot of things can be reprogrammed, but that's not that is not the purpose that they're used for.
So what are they used for?
Well, literally, they're used for recording information, usually on the subquantum level, and relaying it back to whoever put the implant in. Recording data, recording fluctuations. Sometimes I've seen some implants where they're put in to collect data, and then the individual is abducted again, and they remove the implant. Okay, it depends on the race, but what they use them for is simply data collection.
Do they exchange them after time?
You mean with each other, or
do these little chips or inserts, whatever they are putting in, do they have a maximum storage, and when it fills up, do they exchange them for a new one, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Some are designed to just simply relay the information. They're a radio beacon, if you will. Others are simply data collection pods, and they've got a certain amount of storage that they can do, and then they abduct the individual, remove that particular implant. More often than not, they replace it with another one. Okay, and of course, you do have the occasional implant that that shorts itself out or malfunctions, so they pull the person up. They swap the implant out, and they put the person back. It's kind of like if you take a normal computer sometimes you have to swap the memory drive out because, well, frankly, you ran out of room.
Right. Makes sense. All right, let's move on to another question here. Mike is asking, says, in November 1930, 2,000 residents of an Eskimo village at the shores of Lake Anjikuni in northern Canada disappeared, according to a report by Joe LaBelle, a trapper. It was investigated by the RCMP. Upon their visit, several officers witnessed a bright orb-like object the Mounties had watched. The light pulsated, then faded. Over 2,000 people disappeared. Stove still cooking dinner, all dog sleds and dogs accounted for. Do you think this was a mass alien abduction?
Yep. That was that for a short answer. Something like that, and it does obviously it happens, but my suspicion would be that they picked up something. They either, the people in the abductors, either knew of a problem that was taking place here that was going to be a problem, but more than likely had another situation where, because humans are so adaptable, they may have picked them up to transplant them elsewhere to solve another problem, because one of those funny things that humans have that other races don't have is the ability and the willingness to adapt to a strange situation and make the most of it without necessarily blowing a gasket and trying to kill everybody around them. Okay, so if you've got an area, if you as an alien race have a location where you require some sort of added help from people that can adapt to the challenge, okay, you don't take one or two. Taking the 2,000 ensures that pod of people, that pod of humans, will be able to reproduce and flourish. Given that there's food and water available. Food, water, and shelter. But they would take that many to set up to reinforce or potentially start a new section, a new area that they're trying to work with or trying to adapt to.
Right.
Okay. Now, as for why would it be Eskimos? Well, if they're taking them to the Arctic, to a cold area, it would make sense. Eskimos are more adept.
Right. All right, let's move on here, because we only got about 5.5 minutes left with you, Keith. Shar is asking, how do you prove that you have an implant?
Well, there's been many, many cases where doctors have found them. If the only way you're going to do it is if you can, for empirical proof, find a doctor that will scan for it, pull it out, and then good luck with this one, get them to release it to you. That's where the real problem comes in. Because if you feel a little pea-sized lump somewhere, and the doctor won't necessarily pick it up from technological forms, but you may be able to feel it nonetheless. Okay. But proving it is a bit of a challenge, because there's also the problem that usually when they withdraw them, they don't keep them. They end up turning them over to a government somewhere.
Right. Trip is asking, 1899, Tesla thought he had contacted off-worlders. 1960, Frank Drake of Cornell University performed the first SETI experiment. Why is it, do you think, that SETI hasn't found anything except the WOW signal as of yet?
First of all, I don't feel they haven't found anything. I just feel they haven't told the general public that they have. Okay, that would be the first problem. So, in my opinion, this is a question of they're not releasing it, and probably because of some sort of order, either internal, as in SETI itself, or external in the form of human agency or human government saying, no, don't release the information.
Right.
But I frankly don't believe that that's all they've picked up.
I would agree with you on that. There's a lot to lose by admitting that.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of questions that have to immediately be answered the second they do.
But on the flip side, it would probably be the safest way for the government to get out of the whole disclosure thing, considering that they wouldn't have to if they say, oh, my goodness, we've made contact. Look at that. Then you can still keep all your secrets.
Yep, absolutely. And you can bet they're listening in on this. You'd think they would have figured that.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, my friend. We got about just under 3 minutes here. And, you know, implants, I'm going to go to that here for a second. When you were implanted, most people have a feeling that that's how they are being made in contact with ET species. We see a lot of these people saying that they can turn these implants off. Do you buy that?
No. You know, sometimes there are a select few that by focusing can shorten things out. Absolutely. But on the whole, humans do not have the capacity to just go, I don't want that implant to be running, so it's not going to. Okay. It's very much an issue of trying to, you know, imagine, if you will, trying to turn something off that you've got no functional idea of how it works. Okay. If people were to say, I can modify, you know, I can focus and dissolve the thing, that would be more plausible, simply because of the way that biomagnetoelectrics work. Okay, and the way that the human body deals with foreign objects. But to be able to turn it off, you have to know where the switch is.
You know, you make a good point there, Keith. I mean, when you get a sliver, all right, eventually the body works it out, pushes it out. The body has this great ability to try and push things out that are abnormally there. And yet with implants, we don't see that happening.
No.
Why do you think that is?
Because the implants are designed with a mechanism in them that adjusts to the actual biological organism to work against the organism's natural expulsion method. You know, it's kind of along the idea of, and I'll just put it this way, if you were to take an object and put, if you will, a rolling set of paddles around it, every time that the muscle tried to push it out, right, the paddles would give, so that the fluid that the body's using would flow past the object, but the object would stay put. Yeah, kind of along the same idea as aerodynamics or aquadynamics.
True that. My friend, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio, man. You got about 15 seconds. Let us know where people can find you.
Easiest place is you can find me on YouTube at rkeithandrews, or drop me an email at innervoiceenterprises@yahoo.ca. And, of course, contact Dave. I'm sure he can find me.
Thanks, buddy. More after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose, Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to Escape 2017 for your 20% discount today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything is an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Welcome back to the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio. As we've rounded third, we are heading for home. And we are joined by the man, the myth, the Team Stump legend. We got Olaf Phillips from Paranoia Magazine. Olaf Phillips joins us each and every night here on Spaced Out Radio with our news of the night. As the news is always changing, it is weird, it is wacky, it is WTF when it comes to what is happening around the world. And that's why we bring in Mr. Olaf Phillips from the SOR Newswire and Paranoia Magazine. How you doing, my friend?
Doing all right. How are you?
I am good. I'm over my laughing fit.
Good. Good.
Yeah, Mr. Skeptic on Twitter absolutely broke me up. But that's okay. That's okay. It was a good one. It was well worth it. And, you know, the beauty of real radio, man, sometimes you got to laugh.
You do. You really, really do.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. You excited about the weekend?
I'm very excited about the weekend.
Wonderful. You deserve it.
I get to sleep in. Yeah.
Nice. I'm going to be up at like 5:30 in the morning. So
Why?
I'm like 6 hours from now.
Why?
Because I am going to get some firewood.
Again.
Well, I'm almost done. But I'm also going out in the morning, spend a day in an area where it is very thick, very dense with animals, and we're going to look for some Bigfoot.
Oh, right on.
I'm excited.
Well, I hope you
it.
find him. Oh, I hope you find him.
Well, he is the reigning hide-and-seek champion for a reason, so I'm not holding, you know, Vegas odds are against me. I will tell you that.
They are. They are weighted heavily against you.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But you know what? You can't see him if you don't go out there. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
True. That's true.
Exactly. So it's Friday night, my friend. We got the weird, the wacky, the WTF news of the day. Where are you taking us for an adventure tonight?
Well, this just in from the HuffPo. They always seem to have something funny. The most profound shower thoughts on Reddit this week. And apparently, Reddit has its own shower thoughts subreddit. So I thought I'd share some of these morsels of intellect with you. Are you ready?
Oh, please do. I'm ready.
Remember, these are shower thoughts, and who hasn't had thoughts in the shower? Tetris is life. Mistakes pile up and achievements disappear. If humans ever go to war with AI, we'll have to send coded messages to each other in the form of CAPTCHAs. Cheese is just a loaf of milk. I like that one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Your skull doesn't have a facial expression. Your flesh just moves around it. Constantly skipping a song on your favorites list is kind of like realizing you don't like a friend as much as you thought you did. Kids today will never know the excitement of going to Blockbusters on a Friday after school to rent a VHS for the weekend. You with me so far?
Remember on, I got a comment about that one. Remember the panic that you used to have if you were like late on getting your video back?
Or you didn't rewind it.
Yeah.
Well, there's like a 25-cent penalty.
I realize that. You know, kids today will never know the panic of having that video back by 2 p.m. on a Monday afternoon, knowing that you don't get home from school until like 2:30 or 3 o'clock.
They also will never know the panic of, gosh, I really want to watch this movie. I hope it's not all checked out.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, that's a legit one.
Or they will never have the opportunity to understand the stress of when you're 14 years old and you want to rent a rated R horror movie.
Yes. You know, when I was young, I worked at a Blockbuster.
Yep.
And on a Friday night, just me alone, I would probably do $10,000 worth of rentals.
Really?
Just me. I do $10,000. Yeah. I got in trouble once because I did $10,000 in sales, and I was off by 27 cents. And the limit that you could be off as a cashier was 25 cents. So I got formally written up because out of $10,000 of sales, mostly cash, I was 27 cents off.
Wow. Kids will also never know the stress of the debate between VHS and Beta.
That's true. We had one of each, so take that for what it's worth.
Oh, yeah. For sure, man. Continue on.
All right. The saying, out of sight, out of mind, does not apply when you are in your room and catch a glimpse of a spider and then lose it. We take it for granted that text messages we send aren't showing up as something completely different on the other person's screen. In 40 years, some of the recipes that we stole from food blogs will be known as old family recipes by our grandchildren. Maybe those random sharp points we feel from time to time are our alternate reality counterparts dying or being killed.
That's
the difference. The difference between a horror movie and a detective movie is whether it starts the night of or the night after. Saying ASAP is saying ASAP as soon as possible. This is my favorite. A cactus is just a really aggressive cucumber.
That is true.
It is true. A cup of water is just a domesticated puddle. This one's good too. Firefly and waterfall sound like opposites, but aren't even related. And this is the last one. Bragging about how little sleep you get is like bragging about not exercising or eating healthy.
I brag about all of them. Why not? You can't get this figure, and you can't look like this unless you're pounding back a lot of junk food. You haven't seen a gym in years.
You know,
and you're averaging less than 6 hours sleep a night.
I have actually tried to cut down on my junk food and garbage eating, and I've actually lost some weight. I've been actually giving it a good run for its money.
Good
to
for
not
you.
go to a gym, but to cut down on the junk food.
Good for you, man. Good for you. All right, what else do we got going on in the news, man?
Well, this from We're Really All Totally Screwed department, from Live Science, a deadly fast-spreading form of super ice could be killing off life forms. There's a new kind of ice. It forms at speeds of more than 1,000 miles per hour. Now, since you're Canadian, that's 1,600 kilometers per hour. I just want to be international about this.
Thank you.
It lies deep beneath our feet. It could destroy hopes for alien life, and finally, scientists understand how it works. Back in March, researchers writing in the journal Science revealed they had found the first evidence for this ice called Ice 7. Scientists had predicted its existence beforehand. Under the right conditions, it was believed the ice could form in a pool of water without a layer of heat at the leading edge of its growing surface. That, along with super intense pressure and temperatures, would allow the ice to form without most of the usual breaks that slow its growth. Science reported it would also have a different crystalline structure or arrangement of atoms. Now scientists say they found that elusive ice for the first time in the frozen water cores of diamonds that bubbled up from deep inside the earth. And it basically goes on to explain where this thing is, but effectively it's ice that grows uncontrollably at over 1,000 miles per hour.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's deep in the mantle, in the transition zone.
How do you catch that to put in your glass for a beverage?
I really don't know. And what would it do to the glass? Because I guess if it gets inside the glass, it'll freeze the glass.
Perfect.
But they're now hypothesizing that this ice could exist on other planets, and it's killing all the life forms under the Earth, or under Mars or Titan or wherever you're trying to find life.
That's intriguing.
Anyway, it's weird. It's very weird. Just the notion of ice that grows at 1,000 miles an hour. That's 1,600 kilometers per hour. Let me be correct. But that just, I read that and I was like, what? WTF? You ready for another one?
Yeah, we got time for one more, my friend.
Fox News. Georgia construction workers find roughly 1,000 human teeth hidden inside of a wall. Construction workers renovating an older building in Valdosta, Georgia, braced themselves last week after cracking open a wall to discover an estimated 1,000 human teeth inside. The workers, who are renovating the Converse building in the city's downtown area, found the teeth after knocking out a wall on the building's second floor. Donald Davis, the executive director for Lawrence County Historical Society Museum, told Fox News. So it doesn't explain why there were teeth in there, but apparently they dug over 1,000 teeth out of a wall. Again, WTF.
Was that a dentist's house?
It says it's a Converse building. I'm not sure what that has to do with high tops, but it doesn't say anything about why or how or when, which I also found rather odd. It doesn't say anything.
My goodness.
That's good reporting.
I mean,
unless I missed the other half of the article.
As gross as that is, you have to wonder.
Gross.
I mean, are police looking into this?
I don't know. I'm going to do more research because I think finding 1,000 teeth in a wall is pretty bizarre.
Yeah, obviously, man. Obviously. That is pretty disgusting. Pretty disgusting.
It is. It's like watching Sicario when they're pulling bodies out of the wall. It's just gross.
Oh, just terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
Do you have anything cheesier so we can end the night on a positive note before we go to the thought of the Dave?
Oh, boy. Cheesier. Let me see what I got here.
Give us some cheese, man. Give us some cheese.
I had one. Here we go. A message in a bottle found at the Kennedy Space Center beach. November 2nd, UPI. A man conducting an environmental survey at a Florida beach discovered a bottle containing a woman's letters to her late sister. Don Dankert said he and his environmental survey crew were working at the Kennedy Space Center beach when he found a bottle that had spent 3 years floating in the Pacific Ocean. I saw a bottle floating in a ditch, so I got out a stick and fished it out, Don Dankert told WESH-TV. The bottle contained letters written by Victoria Todd, who said she had written the letters for her sister Barbara Lamb, but hadn't sent them before the other woman died. It had started as a letter, and I could not finish it. And then my last farewell to her, when I came home, it was a week later that I was called, and she had passed on, Todd said. Todd said the bottle was thrown into the ocean from Central Florida 3 years ago. Dankert said he was happy to be able to speak to Todd, who lives in Mississippi. It seemed very appropriate that we found it on a beach and then read it amongst ourselves on the beach as well. So it was quite an honor to be a part of your sister's story, Dankert said.
That's cool. Good way to end it, my friend. Let's get to the thought of the day.
There you go. Do it.
Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we post a question on our Facebook and Twitter feeds and then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation. Today's Thought of the Dave is as followed. What do you think alien implants are for? The Ukrainian watermelon, you're kicking this off, man, says alien hands holds for easier abduction, but on the flip side, man, do I get a great radio reception. Allison believes they're tracking devices. Catherine, implants could be used for a number of reasons. Most often it would be for tracking, so you must ask yourself, why are you a person tagged with being tracked like wildlife? What does that mean? Humanity is nothing but wildlife to aliens. Debbie, at least they're not eating us. I hear we're tasty to some. Tastes like chicken. Ew. Eric, reading DNA. Tracking system for Linda. Francesca, bigger boobs. But she used a different word. Can't use that on terrestrial. Jade, ETs, get your archaic alien tech out of here, you cretins. Guess she doesn't like them. Greg, well, they ain't going to help my sex life, that's for sure. Heidi, to see how quickly these hybridizations are progressing. Another Debbie, tracking and changing of DNA, ultimate control. Susan, they are studying our DNA and makeup. Pat, to make the dead walk, of course. Aussie Rob, how's tomorrow looking? Tracking and a way to monitor health functions and a way to whisper thoughts into the brain. Uncle Bob, hi Bob, how you doing over there, buddy? He says, ask Cher, she's got a nice pair after everyone made fun of her flat chest back in the 70s. Wow, went there. This is what happens when I read these cold.
Yep.
Wendy, a way to check on our biological and physiological changes, possibly to also maintain telepathy and experience of everything we see and hear, depending on placement of the implant. Kevin, the implant monitors the human stink level, alerting them to the instant that we have ripened and are ready for the picking. That is a good one. Daniel, probe sensors. Jamie, to attract alien men. I get that. Michelle, monitoring, tracking, and possibly biofeedback. We got more here. Graham, it's an old PSYOP procedure, now mostly defunct, but still practiced, my friend. Joseph, when I hit play for this rebroadcast, that's different tweet on something else. All right.
Okay.
Joe, because silicone ones caused so many problems. Oh, my goodness. Chris, to monitor an individual's thoughts, emotions, and changes to their physiology. Mr. Human Tiger 13. Well, Hulk Hogan is alive, so. Oscar. Well, that was for our Keith Andrews. The most wonderful time of the month. All right.
The end.
That's it. That's what we got. That's all we got to finish off the week. We ended early.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. There were some good ones tonight. Do me a favor. Let everybody know where they can find Paranoia Magazine.
ParanoiaMagazine.com, Paranoia Magazine on Facebook, Paranoia Mag on Twitter, and Paranoia Mags on Instagram, where you can watch me go find weird places.
You're all over the map. You are all over the map, my friend.
Well,
and why not?
California, at least. Why not? I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere and nowhere.
Yeah, you are.
Yep.
Yeah, you are. That's you, my friend. And don't forget, you can find all of the news at spacedoutradio.com. Click on the news section. Captain Shirk has everything up there for you to read. She's posting quite a few stories a day. So big hand for Captain Shirk and the great job that she is doing. We want to say thank you to our Keith Andrews for coming on in for the ET Connection. Keith will next be back here on Friday, December 7th. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Don't forget, we got weekend shows coming tomorrow night and Sunday. Tessa Nicole Thomas will be in for Spaced Out Weekend starting at 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern. It can be heard at spacedoutradio.com. Special thanks for a great week to everyone listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Big special thank you to everybody on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, the Veterans Club, the SOR Space Travelers on Facebook, Spreaker, Rev Radio, and so much more. Thanks for doing your part to help us get bigger and better every single night, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a great weekend. Good night.